All right, let's go. Or for my friends in New York, Allahu Akbar.
It's the motherfucking DOWE.
Breaking news, everything is bad. It's just as terrible as you imagined and probably worse.
As we creep towards the end of 2025, it really feels like XRP holders are just trying to hang on. Of course, we must remember that XRP at $2.50 back in November 2024 looked like this. But for some reason, XRP at $2.50 in November 2025 looks like this.
Woof.
Maybe it's just me, but it kind of feels like crypto holders are going to be extremely happy again very soon. Just know that even when you do get rich, when people ask you how you made your millions, your explanation will sound exactly like this. And with the longest government shutdown in history behind us, your elected officials can now get back to doing what they do best, answering hypothetical questions hypothetically.
Senator, I know this subject matter is quite sensitive to you, but we have to talk about your watermelon head. I mean, come on. You do realize you have a weird looking head shaped like a watermelon, right?
You know what, George? That is a Republican talking point, and I don't want to talk about it.
But at some point you have to talk about it, Senator. I mean, that bitch is huge, and it's literally shaped just like a watermelon.
Can we just talk about something else, please? I can talk shit about Trump if you want.
We'll get there, Senator. First, let's talk about your pencil neck. How can you even hold that big-ass watermelon head with that tiny little pencil neck?
You know what? This interview is over, George. Thank you.
There is definitely no shortage in the meme world when it comes to famous caves, but Chuck Schumer may have set a new level of incompetence when we look at this one.
You're doing a great job, Chuck. This is what I like to see. You missed a spot.
This is what happened when Bernie Sanders passed Schumer in the halls of Congress.
Love your nipples.
Sorry, wrong clip. This is actually what he said.
So you get nothing. You lose.
And I think the most surprising thing to me is that I still can't believe that this is Chuck Schumer's wife. It just feels like we make things too complicated sometimes. Life is actually pretty simple.
Biscuits and blowjobs are how you keep a man.
I was going to insert a Pete Buttigieg joke right here, but fuck it. I'd rather show you the cool device that Nancy Pelosi uses to get the last Pringles out of the canister. And while we're on the topic, rest in peace, Dick Cheney. Rarely does someone's personality embody their name at such a high level. With everything that's gone on since my last video, I can honestly say I don't think I've been this disgusted since the time I looked at my finger after using cheap toilet paper. So we got a lot to talk about in this video, from what your favorite white dudes for Harris have been up to lately, to what it looks like 5 minutes after I tell the dentist I floss 2 to 3 times per week, and from the only candy that is officially approved by Tim Walz, to what it looks like when you about to get that good socialism. And as the government opens back up, my only question is, what was it all for? Here's Texas Democrat Al Green, who I think just sums it up perfectly.
You know there's a God who sits on high and looks down low. Man cannot make it like this. Larry Flint, Hugh Hefner, they can take the picture, but they can't make it. Only God above, the Hugh Hefner on high, can make it for you. God can help Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Yes, it helped Daniel get out the lion's den. It helped Gilligan get off the island.
You all know by now that on this channel, we go above and beyond in order to expose the truth.
Well, when Barack was running for president, he told me I had to put my dangling dong away, tuck it away or some shit. And I said, say what? I ain't about to put away this dangling dong, Barack. What you talking about? You can't just hide a huge salami like it ain't no thing, Barack. Anyway, I really tried wrapping it to my leg and shit, but when I went on Ellen and started dancing, that shit came off and boom, the dong started dangling,
Some of you say that my videos are racist, but I think that is wrong on so many levels. This is the place you can count on to deliver both the good and the bad news. Some channels are just trying to lure you in, but just make sure what they are offering is actually a good deal. Over here, the one thing you can always count on is transparency. And I know the reason you come here is because I'm not afraid to ask the important questions. Like, how is Diddy getting along with the other inmates during his first few days in prison? How does Zoran Mamdani's mother feel about her son being the new mayor? What is an appropriate face to make when her Tinder profile says she's looking for a man to woo her? Has Jake Paul finally found his next boxing opponent? Is it true that if you make this hand gesture when you interrupt people, you are in fact a cunt? What is Lindsey Graham up to after a long day of betraying his country? If this is male and this is female, does that make this a whore? Should you think twice before naming your child Clint? There is a lot of talk that Zoran Mondani's wife is more attractive than First Lady Melania Trump. But do you think that's true? Do you like the new cheerleader uniforms for the New York Giants? What in the world is happening on aisle 15? How do you feel about dictionary.com's updated definition for the term septum piercing? Does anyone think that now may be a good time to check on Wendy? How should you answer when she asks, what do you bring to this relationship? One thing that people forget is that before Mount Rushmore was carved, it had unprecedented beauty. Can you all be honest with me? I'm trying to improve my strength, so I bought this homemade arm wrestling machine for $50. Did I get ripped off? What is the main concern for the North Korean government?
And make sure all the school teaching the children how to be a homosexual and make sure they all teach about the transgender. So that is what important to me.
And maybe most importantly of all, what's the best way to make new friends with the neighbors?
I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and watch liberals cry and I scream to the top of my lungs, Trump's still your president, get over it!
All right, let's talk some financial news. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is how David Schwartz dresses when he posts on X. And you're lucky because I actually have some footage of Brad Garlinghouse walking into Ripple offices on Monday morning after a successful swell conference. Some interesting perspective here from the billionaire Paul Tudor Jones.
What would I want to have? I'd want to have a combination of gold, crypto, and my guess is that I think all the ingredients are in place for some kind of a blow-off. Will it happen? Again, history rhymes a lot, so I would think some version of it is going to happen again. Right. If anything now is so much more potentially explosive than 1999. 1999, we were looking at a rate hike in November. Now we're looking at a rate cut. We were looking at 4 more rate hikes before we actually topped in 2000. Now we're looking at 3 or 4 rate cuts, probably at least. So you have monetary policy that's going to take us to real rates of 0 or less, probably, depending upon the next Fed chair. And then the big difference is, obviously, fiscal policy. We had a budget surplus in 99, 2000. Now we've got a 6% budget deficit. So that combination, that fiscal monetary combination, is a brew that we haven't seen since, I guess, the post-war period, early 50s, something like that.
And although we get frustrated sometimes about price, here's Brad with some wise words.
The president had talked about making America the crypto capital of the world on 60 Minutes. And I remember thinking to myself as I was doing this interview, like, the fact that the president is on 60 Minutes talking about crypto, that alone, I would not have thought we would be here. So, I mean, look, the journey that many of us have been on with the crypto industry has been long. It's had ups, it's had downs. Certainly the SEC lawsuit that the SEC suing Ripple was a painful part of that chapter for Ripple, and I really think for the industry because it was so important. But it is a much brighter day.
Ripple partners with Mastercard to introduce RLUSD credit card settlements on XRP Ledger.
I guess it's not surprising then that the banking industry is not exactly thrilled about this.
The bank doesn't want competition because they've done a shitty job of serving their customers.
And here's some important advice from ex-Ripple exec turned BlackRock's head of crypto, Robbie Mitchnick.
Well, I think my advice is more for the people coming in. I think it's very important to be discerning and to be very particular about which assets one is going to hold.
And CNBC says that Ripple Labs is conquering crypto. Now the XRP-linked firm wants to take on traditional finance. The article goes on to say that Ripple Labs, valued at $40 billion after a $500 million funding round, is expanding beyond crypto into traditional finance via a $4 billion acquisition spree, including Hidden Road for $1.3 billion and G Treasury for just over $1 billion. It states that Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse aims to integrate blockchain solutions for institutions, launching Ripple Prime for OTC trading. Despite US regulatory hurdles, he sees growing adoption under Trump, boosting XRP utility. And the biggest news of all has to be this right here. Canary Capital has filed its Form 8A, which is the final step before it goes effective at 5:30 p.m. Wednesday once the NASDAQ certifies the listing. When that happens, the last hurdle is cleared and the first XRP Spot ETF will be launched Thursday morning at the market open. If you've been watching Solana rip higher and higher, you need to know about Upexi, NASDAQ ticker symbol UPXI, the public market's Solana play. And I want to thank them for sponsoring this video. Upexi has pivoted into a digital asset treasury company laser focused on Solana. You can think of them like a MicroStrategy, but for SOL. Upexi holds 2.1 million SOL, worth nearly $400 million, and earns about $75,000 a day just from staking. They're also buying locked Solana at a discount, stacking unrealized gains north of $70 million. And get this, their advisor board now includes Sol Big Brain and top investor John Najarian, connecting crypto and Wall Street like never before. So if you want exposure to Solana through a NASDAQ listed company already outperforming the market, check out upexi.com or hit up their investor relations page for the full breakdown. Links below to check out UPXI and do your own research. All right, let's get to some of the other top headlines, but first, an important message from VP Vance.
Put some respect on my name. You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on it. Stop playing with my name.
Lots to talk about here, but we'll start with the retirement of a legend. It's definitely hard to believe that Nancy Pelosi is retiring after being in Congress for 237 years. Congratulations, Nancy. You've gone from a young skank with JFK checking out your rack to a drunk whore who needs to be checked into a retirement home immediately.
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi's retiring.
I think she's an evil woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country.
And on Dick
I think she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
But don't worry, her daughter is ready to take over right where she left off.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months. By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs.
I think we can all cheer for that. In all seriousness, it is really good that the government is back open and we can start paying out benefits, like for this woman who has been starving.
It's really bad.
Doctors were estimating that if she doesn't get food, she could have starved to death in as little as 8 years.
He thought he could break the Republicans, and the Republicans broke him.
Gavin Newsom flew on a private jet to Brazil to talk at a conference where he blamed the Palisade fires on climate change. But it's okay. He was able to do enough flamboyant hand gestures to distract from how ironic that actually is.
This Crockett, this is a very low IQ person. And I look at somebody that comes from Somalia, where they don't have anything. They don't have police, they don't have military, they don't have anything. All they have is crime. And she comes in and tells us how to run our country. The Constitution says this, the Constitution. The whole thing is crazy.
For anyone who didn't see the game between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, here's a quick highlight of exactly what happened. We all know that no one drops the mic like Stephen Miller.
Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Obama, Monaco, all conspired together, all worked together to try to sabotage, undermine, unravel the democratic institutions and structures of this country.
After the big win for the newly elected mayor, Zoran Mamdani, the governor of New York contradicts his big campaign promise.
I just want to set the stage that, you look at the history of people who've run multi-million-dollar ad campaigns to try and get me to change my position, I don't change my position.
Here's something that should make most people pretty happy. From DJT on Truth Social, people that are against tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world, with almost no inflation and a record stock market price. He then said a dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone, adding that everything left over after the $2,000 payments will be used to substantially pay down the national debt. And this is something you really need to be paying attention to. President Trump is preparing to open the $9 trillion US retirement market to Bitcoin and crypto investments. But here's the thing, you don't have to wait for that policy shift. I'm already doing it with iTrust Capital, and not just because I'm partnered with them, I actually use their platform to grow my crypto in a tax-advantaged IRA. With iTrust Capital's crypto IRA, you can buy and sell over 80 digital assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP inside a retirement account where trades grow tax-deferred or even tax-free. No capital gains headaches every time I take profit, which is huge for your long-term strategy. They're partnered with Coinbase Custody, Fidelity Digital Assets, so the security is institutional grade, the platform is simple to use, available 24/7, and there are no monthly account fees, just a flat 1% transaction fee. I'm building my retirement with crypto right now, and iTrust is the tool I trust to do it. If you're thinking about stacking Bitcoin or other assets for the long haul, this is the way. Links below to check out iTrust Capital. And I'm trying to watch this new show. Does anyone know if it's on Netflix? The next time someone uses the phrase threat to democracy, instead of getting upset, just remember this.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
So you know I'll be watching, and I'll keep you updated with any new information. To the good people of New York, stay strong.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, all passengers. You are currently on the J train. Inshallah, we'll be at the next stop in 7 minutes. Alhamdulillah.
Just a quick public service announcement to always be careful when you order stuff on Temu. Last week, my friend ordered a penis enlarger and they sent him a magnifying glass. The one thing people crave is authenticity. You should forget about this and maybe just strive for what you can control. If there's anything that I've learned recently, it's that Marjorie Taylor Greene means business. Above everything else, just don't be racist. Be like Mario, an Italian plumber created by Japanese people who speaks English and looks Mexican. He also jumps like a black man and grabs coins like a Jew. Mario basically invented intersectionality. And let's end right here with the new song you'll be singing all day. You're welcome.
I'm missing with the heart on, missing the pain. You guys just don't understand. I'm missing with the heart on, coming in to see. I'll be back to bed in a minute, baby.
And if you have a couple more minutes, you may have missed my last video where we do more of whatever it is that we do here. And of course, some more truth talk, not designed to invite hate, but instead promote thought and question so that maybe we can start to understand each other a little better. Until the next time, be safe.